actual game would finish Benfica 0, Real Madrid 1. We'll talk obviously about the game in a moment. It'd be amiss of us not to start with the alleged racist incident in that second half. This is what Tchouaméni had to say about it. This can't happen. Vinny told us the guy called him a monkey with his shirt covering his face. He said he didn't see anything. Vinny told us we had to keep playing. I don't know what to say now. We'll talk, but this can't happen. I said that if there's a problem, we leave as a team. That's it. But we talked and we said we had to win. Obviously, as we're going live now, there's a lot more post-match reaction coming. We'll be hearing from Jose Mourinho. I'll let you know exactly what he had to say and anyone else from each camp. But as we stand at the moment, Frank, as we welcome Frank Leboeuf into the show, obviously, it's such a brilliant goal from Vinícius Jr. and it's so disappointing that this is what we start the show with.
Yeah, it's very sad because, as you said, the goal is absolutely fantastic, and we don't know why he got a yellow card. I don't think it's because he danced around the corner flag, and maybe something happened with the fans, blah blah blah. But whatever. But I don't think that Vini is that twisted that suddenly, after scoring a goal, decides to make up some stories. So we don't have the evidence, and the referee had to do what he did what he had to do. Therefore, stop the game, investigate, and keep on playing because he had nothing. He had no evidence. The player put his shirt when he said something to Vini, so there's nothing to complain about that. But we're pretty sure that something has been said and that Vini reacted to some abuse. I'm pretty sure. Again, no evidence, so we won't say anything, and the game has to go on. And as Tchouaméni said, they had to come back and they had to play and win that game, and that's it. Very disappointed by the fans, by the way, because to boo Vini was a real shame because Vini didn't do anything bad.
So we've heard from... Can we just remind me what Jose Mourinho has said? 'Cause I just missed that. What Vini said and what Bresciani said are two different things. That's what Jose Mourinho has come out.
Well, now imagine that,
of course,
Jose Mourinho is going to defend his player, and you would expect that to be the case. And it's not like Bresciani is going to go to Jose Mourinho and say, "See, Jose, what I told Vini was this, and he misunderstood what I said." Look, we don't have proof, right? We don't have evidence. We don't have the smoking gun, and we don't have the video nor the audio. But it is more likely than not that Bresciani said something to Vini that he should not have said. Because as we focus on Bresciani and the look in his eyes, when Vini heard what Bresciani had said, and the reaction of Vini, the look in Bresciani's eyes is of a man who said, "Oh, this could be troublesome." Now, it's merely observation, it's merely speculation. But to Frank's point, so often we focus on Vini Jr. for the wrong reasons. And so often he is in the middle of things because he chooses to be in the middle of things, and he is the culprit of problems. Today is not that day. Today, that's not the case. And for those out there that may say, well, he had it coming because he went and celebrated the goal in the manner in which he did, you are 100% wrong. Vini Jr. scores a great goal, and he is well within his rights to go and celebrate with the corner flag. And I don't want to hear it that this is sort of a new age of how people celebrate and it's inappropriate. No. In 1990, in the World Cup, Roger Milla for Cameroon was celebrating the same way. This was more than 30 years ago. Okay? So if we're going to ask players to express themselves and enjoy the game and enjoy a goal, a great goal as he just scored, he's well within his rights to go and celebrate. And if you're a Benfica player and you are upset about it, you know what you can do? Stop him from scoring. That's the best way that you can do it. Now, the referee doesn't help the situation either. He, in dealing with Vini at the time, in bringing the yellow card and not being able to control the back and forth, then it allows Bresciani to come into the picture, and then Bresciani said what he said. Again, I don't have the proof, but if you are to push me one way or another, I would suggest that Bresciani more likely than not is guilty of saying what Vini said.
Jose Mourinho's come out and said that he told Vini, when you score a great goal, don't go and rile up the fans.
Let me just tell you, and
That's a lot of nonsense.
can I just tell you, players in that moment, in that scenario, never express themselves like that. Do you think that that's a sort of conversation that you would be covering your mouth? Mm-hmm. If that's exactly what you were saying, would you need to cover your mouth? You shouldn't express yourself this way and you shouldn't celebrate this way. No. Players don't talk like that. No? And so there would have been choice words. There would have been a reminder of somebody's family. There would have been a whole lot of things being said, but then there's a line.
Right.
And obviously, according to Vinny Jr., Prestiani crossed that line.
I'd have to say, you know, I particularly have sat here this season and talked about how disappointed I've been in the way Vinny's conducted himself with the Alonso thing and all these other things that he's been getting up to. But you have to say, his maturity in this situation tonight has to be applauded. You know, the Vinny that we saw running off in the Barcelona game and throwing his baby sucker at the pram and all the carry on. Today, he went about this exactly the way he should. He told the referee, he went and sat down, he wasn't running around fighting with people, he went and sat down, he calmed himself down, they got going again. He was the one that said we need to play this and we need to win, and then he went back on the field and played as though nothing had happened, but just played his normal game. That's not the mature Vinny that we've seen so far this season. So he has to be applauded for that. I
just want to amend something. It was Mourinho who told Vinícius Jr, when you score a great goal, don't go rile up the fans. This is what he said apparently when he went over and sat on the bench that we saw during that 8-minute break. Was there any... Am I being naive here? Was there any way in which Mourinho could have stepped in and taken Prestiani off?
Well, but then at that point you're admitting guilt.
Right.
Yep.
Right?
Right.
And you're no longer protecting your player. If Jose Mourinho wholeheartedly believes that Prestiani is innocent in this, no, you don't take him out. You leave him out there because, oh, by the way, he's an important player for you offensively, and you need him to make a difference for you, potentially scoring a game-tying goal or creating an opportunity. So you don't admit guilt by taking him out and say, well, he must have said something, so you come off the field. You believe what your players told you. This is about Prestiani. It's not about Jose Mourinho. And it becomes a story about Jose Mourinho when he gets himself thrown out of the game because he's wanting a second yellow card for Vinny. But as it pertains to this specific circumstance, if the player tells you that he hasn't said anything, you believe your player.
Right.
You, as a manager, you have to believe your own players first and foremost, and you have to protect your own players first and foremost.
Go on, Frank.
You know, while I'm thinking about what happened, you know, when you go back to the dressing room and you're a black player from Benfica and you have to talk to Prestiani, that can be very tricky. Because, you know, if I'm a black guy and I talk to Prestiani and I would say, I want to know what happened. Why did you say something to him? And what did you say something to him? Why do you have to cover your mouth? Because if you had to cover your mouth, it's because you were saying something nasty, to say the least. And I want to know if you really say that, because have you seen the color of my skin? You are insulting all the people from there. So it's a big time. I don't know what Prestiani really said, because we won't have the evidence, and I think he will deny for the rest of his life, because that's such a big word, as he will deny it. But again, I don't think Vinny is bipolar. I don't think after scoring a goal you can get crazy and find another thing to find another way to celebrate your goal and get crazy. No, Vinny heard what he heard, and I want to believe what he heard, because he won't get that crazy after scoring a goal. It's impossible. And because the guys cover his face, we all figure that he wasn't very nice. So I feel very awkward today. I think about all the Prestiani's teammates as well, who are black, and that's appalling. If really happened, that's appalling, and it could go further. And Jose Mourinho will have to clear that to make sure the dressing room stays okay, because that can be damages.
I find it funny. If there's one manager that shouldn't be telling anybody about riling up a crowd, it's him.
Yeah.
I mean, sliding down the touchline at Old Trafford. At running around with his finger at Barcelona. I mean, if there's one person who's a complete hypocrite telling somebody else not to rile the crowd up, it's Mourinho.
I want to make sure that we really hammer the point home of not victim blaming here. It's easy because of who Vini is and has been as a player to say, well, he had it coming. And I want to make sure that people don't go down that path. Because whatever you may think of Vini before today has nothing to do with him scoring a great goal, celebrating, and then a minute later being told what apparently he was told by Prestiani. One thing is not connected to the other. The past of Vinícius Jr. is not connected to the behavior today of Prestiani, and Prestiani should be the one that should be the focus, not Vini. Vini becomes the focus because of what Prestiani said and what the action, allegedly, what he said and what his actions were following the brilliance of Vinícius Jr., which gets overlooked. The brilliance of Vinícius Jr. in the end somehow starts this thing up. But it's about Prestiani and an amazingly ignorant behavior that still happens, allegedly, in 2026.
Yeah.
That we're still having these conversations, and that is deplorable. That is the thing that we should focus on.
Vinny, I think I just saw on Instagram, if it's true, it's just put out a picture saying, see you at the Bernabeu.
Okay.
Which I suppose is where Vinny will be looking to do his talking in that second leg, where Real Madrid, of course, will have a huge advantage, Stevie. They were the much better side today.
Yeah, they were. And of all the days, and we've been talking about Mbappe being the guy who's been carrying this team all season with his goals. My goodness, how he's not going home with the ball with a hat-trick is beyond me. Ali said it in the first opportunity. You know, why he's not going with that ball with his left foot? It makes no sense. You know, the fact that he's trying to do it with the outside of his right foot means he's going with the smallest surface area. Because you don't always have to hit it perfectly, but you've got to make contact with it. And then the worst one for me, actually, is the last one. He has done everything. He's cut inside. He's gone past 3 defenders. He's in the middle of the goal. All he's got to do is pick his spot, and he hits the goalkeeper. So for a guy that we've been praising to high heaven all season as the guy who could have killed this tie.
Yeah.
Never mind having to go back there with just a 1-goal lead.
But in the end, they didn't need Mbappe on top form because obviously Vinny gets the goal, Frank, and thoroughly deserved advantage they'll take to the Bernabeu. Real Madrid were good today.
Very good, very good, very solid. I also loved Tchouaméni in the middle of the park, you know, working hard. Nothing to complain about the defense. Courtois made a great save also in the first half. Everybody was spot on. But Mbappe, you know, sometimes it happens. We're going to talk about Désiré Doué with Paris Saint-Germain, who was absolutely tremendous today. Sometimes it's your day, and sometimes it's not. And Mbappe wasn't. You know, yeah, he should have tackled and put the left foot. On the second chance, he should have put the right foot, and he put the left one. Everything was the other way around, and maybe it's for the best. Maybe today was off because he's been so successful, scoring so many goals that it can happen, and then you go back and start a new era, and it's what I want to wish him, because it was good. In terms of playing, being involved, that was a good game from Mbappe, but it's true that the finishing wasn't there.
Couple of things that made Real Madrid really good today, and you notice it with players that are coming back from injury. With Trent playing as a right back, you have a natural outlet down the right-hand side, and the quality of services that are coming from the right-hand side, one of those was the one that Kylian Mbappe should have scored with his left foot. Quality of passing playing out of the back with Trent Alexander-Arnold is noticeable as well. And because Benfica didn't have a lot of the ball, then you don't really expose him defensively. Real Madrid also, with the presence of Trent Alexander-Arnold, free up Fede Valverde to join in the midfield. And that makes such a big difference for what Tchouaméni now can do and Camavinga can do, because it's now 3 players who have the legs to cover the space. And so Tchouaméni looks a whole lot better because he's not covering 40 yards, he's covering 20 yards. And you got 20 yards here for Valverde, and you got 20 yards here for Camavinga, and the spacing of Real Madrid in the midfield so much better. We talk about the structure of Real Madrid being a problem. Today, that wasn't the case. So having a natural right back, having a natural midfielder playing his position, covering the ground that needs to cover, and once they have possession of the ball and they find Alexander on the right-hand side, if I'm a striker for this team, I'm making runs inside the 18-yard box because I know the delivery is coming. Real Madrid, to your point, looked very good, professional, organized, well-structured. That hasn't been the case over the course of the season. It was today.